Hello and welcome to Inner Preservation's live show. Inner Preservation is a channel that gives you the tips and techniques to transform your life and build you up to the person that you want to truly be. Check out our new exciting content which we publish regularly every week. During this session, I want to talk to you about guilt. We've touched on this before. It's a tricky thing. And without it, you'd never know where you have gone wrong. It can serve as a moral compass, which is there to put you on the right track. Guilt proves that you are capable of feeling empathy, sounding as an alarm to let you know that you've made choices that conflict with your moral compass. Understanding the source of it, however, might prove that it could have been generated by somebody else, meaning that you shouldn't feel responsible for it solely. Whatever may be the case, you can use this knowledge to your advantage, to address those circumstances and set yourself on a path that reflects your good, true nature. If you don't like what you see or hear, then you can switch over. If you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. You can follow us, Inner Preservation, on Facebook and Instagram for regular posts and updates. And I really hope you enjoy this. So the first chapter, be mindful of guilt. Guilt can be an incredibly painful feeling to process. It can crop up unexpectedly and take complete control over your thoughts and emotions. No matter how negatively you might look at it, guilt can be a catalyst for positive change, and in some cases, necessary. Everybody makes mistakes. You have every right to learn from yours and redeem yourself. Guilt, it can manifest in a multitude of ways. A feeling of remorse perhaps, failure, unnecessary blame, or conditioning. It doesn't matter which type of guilt you are suffering from personally. The important thing to know is that you can process yours and forgive yourself, no matter how difficult that might seem. The first and most important step in your journey is to name your guilt and acknowledge it. Running away will only make things worse. As longer as it goes unaddressed, the more painful it will eventually and inevitably become. Your mind is an incredibly powerful tool, and it will do everything in its power to block out afflicting memories, and in some extreme cases, seriously damage your mental health. This is why it is important to start processing it as soon as possible, no matter what the circumstance may be. In many cases, you might not be able to say sorry. This could be related to someone that has passed away or conditioning that you were subjected to as a child. Ignoring your guilt might have seemed like a healthy, helpful strategy before, but now you have the courage to face it and finally overcome it with these tips and techniques. It is important that you set aside some time to explore your feelings inside, allowing them to play out in your mind free from judgment. Be the witness, be the observer. Do not try to block them out anymore. Allow them to wash over you and absorb in them. You could even try writing out some notes in a journal, as this can be effective in unloading the burden of these thoughts that are trapped inside your mind. By simply acknowledging your guilt in such a way as this, you are making a huge step towards processing and eventually overcoming it. Because you, like anybody else, have just as much right to enjoy a happy, entitled life where you can experience a variety of emotions without having to beat yourself up and have a cloud following you, which is this guilt. So the second chapter is called Exploring Sources of Guilt. So now that you have gotten the hardest part out of the way, which is acknowledging it and sitting with the fact that, you can't escape this. When you go silent, you allow it to wash over you. There's no need for you to run away anymore. You're not going to escape. If you keep doing the same things, you won't escape. Okay? You got to face it now. And the next step is to explore the source of your guilt and to understand whether it is healthy or not. Doing this will enable you to look at it rationally and help you to build a healthier perspective in your mind's eye. Guilt is based on your values, morals, and standards, all of which are necessary and important with regard to guiding your behaviour in a positive direction. It is normal to feel guilty when you have done something wrong, for example. But guilt can also take its roots in response to events that you didn't have much to do with, and situations that could have been changed, that could not have been changed, even if you tried. The guilt could have been generated by someone else as well. Someone who's imposing their standards on you. Shame is often the common response, and no matter how strongly you feel it, you must remember that you are human after all. And subsequently, making mistakes doesn't make you any lesser one. Ask yourself, whose standards were violated here? Were they yours? Somebody else's? Or were they in relation to something you have no direct connection with? Where did those expectations come from? Your family? Is it religion? The media? If your source of guilt doesn't have its roots in something that you personally have done wrong or something you've committed, and it ticks any of these other boxes, then it isn't healthy. It is not fair or just for anybody else to impose their expectations on you. You have the right to be fully in control of your life and can set your own standards by which you live. If it's not guilt tripping, it might stem from something that you cannot be faulted for example. Perhaps you survived a traumatic experience or a disaster, or took care of your own needs when you believe you could have focused on others. Whether you have broken your own moral code or fallen victim to the imposition of guilt, the next step is to be realistic about what you can control and to start looking at guilt from a rational perspective. So the next chapter, the third chapter tonight, is called Guilt. Is it out of your hands? So many sources of guilt stem from situations or experiences that are out of your hands. Instead of just accepting, what happened at face value, analyze the situation differently. take some time out to think about what actually happened in the lead up to you feeling this way. Were you a direct influence on all of this, or did you directly hurt someone's feelings, put them out of a job, or cause that person to become harmed or unwell? In most cases, you'll realize that you didn't have as much involvement as you first thought. If you were directly responsible, however, perhaps acting out offensively to somebody else, then this is healthy guilt acting as a warning sign. The good news is, and this is something that you can control and adjust, so grasp this opportunity to make amends and demonstrate your goodwill through positive change. Don't make yourself feel worse about it. Ask yourself, am I a good person? The fact that you really feel guilty about the situation at all shows that you feel remorse, which of course takes compassion. So there are plenty of other scenarios, however, where you wouldn't have had much control over the situation. This is unhealthy guilt. This is what we call unhealthy guilt, which is disproportionate, misplaced, and generally irrational. Imagine a friend suffers a career setback or even loses their job, at the same time that you get a promotion. Despite the joy you feel for your own success, you feel bad for them and guilty about your own happiness because they lost their job. This type of guilt isn't rational or healthy because you can't control the circumstances which brought it about. You must understand that there isn't much that you can do to improve the situation. Therefore, you haven't done anything wrong. So the only way you can better it is to work on your mindset. Be realistic. So, be realistic about what you can control. Write out a list of all the things that you could have influenced in relation to the source of your guilt. Then write out a list of all the things that couldn't have been controlled. If your second list is longer, then your guilt is baseless and unproductive. It's fine to recognize your empathy for others, but guilt can be a serious burden. It is important that you harness the power of your emotions behind the guilt to make positive changes in response. Excuse me for a sec. Thirsty work. So, let's go back to that. So it is important that you harness the power of your emotions behind the guilt to make positive changes in response. That way you can regain a sense of control that you didn't have before when confronting these emotions. Okay, this next chapter is called Guilt Helps You Grow. Now that you have adopted a more rational approach to processing guilt, it is important to understand why it occurs in the first place. You have acknowledged that you feel guilty about something and have decided to confront it, which takes enormous courage. You then explored the source and probably realized that you weren't entirely liable for all responsibility or blame. You were realistic about what you could have ultimately controlled, and therefore unloaded a heavy weight off your shoulders, whittling it down to where you stand now. So whittling it down to where you stand now has more than likely removed a huge chunk of that guilt that you originally felt. So you're making progress now. The fact that you aren't running away from it anymore is a testament to you and your character and your strength. You have been so brave to stand firm and confront the guilt that is now affecting you in all manner of circumstances and for so long now in your life. This in itself is an achievement. You should pat yourself on the back and feel proud of yourself. You should feel so proud right now. And there is no need to feel shame or regret. Guilt is there to put you on the right track. And you must remember that. It's healthy to feel this. It's your moral compass. It's your alarm to let you know that the choices that conflict with your moral values. You know, guilt proves that you are capable of feeling empathy and didn't intend to cause any harm. So take action now and address the circumstances to set yourself on a path that's more in line with your goals. It will help you grow, and it will make you wiser, well-rounded, and empathetic. So use it as a tool to improve yourself, rather than using it to replay the emotional state associated with the emotion. You have every right to use it to your benefit. So do not feel that you are unworthy of making peace within yourself and with the past. Showing mercy towards yourself is not an act of defeat. It is one of the greatest acts of kindness, a healing process to release the burden of the past that will liberate you from the perpetual guilt that could otherwise plague your entire future going forward. So this next chapter is called Making Positive Changes. So we're looking towards the future now and what we can do. Whether you believe it or not, subconsciously, you have an overwhelming desire to heal and repair. Not just your mind and body, but other aspects of your life too. Relationships, careers, morals, and ethics. These are all areas of your life that deep down, everybody wants to get right. If you have done wrong in the past and are suffering the consequences of guilt that is rational, then now is the time to get realistic and move forward by making positive changes. It's in your human nature to do what is right. And you know this deep down. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. There are some unfortunate people that are unable to feel remorse. So count yourself lucky that you've been blessed with this gift. Now is your chance to make amends and turn those guilty emotions into fuel for positive change. Not only will this improve the situation, but it will heal your mindset too. If it is possible, you can start by making a sincere apology. In doing this, you can convey remorse and regret to the victim of your wrongdoing. Avoiding making excuses. This needs to be as sincere as possible. Reassuring the person, really reassuring them that you will never make the same mistake again. Be truthful and true to this. Although you may never receive forgiveness from the said person, sincerely apologizing will still help you heal. If you cannot apologize directly, try writing it out instead. This is a great technique that works for a variety of reasons. Not only does it enforce the seriousness of your intent, but it is also a powerful exercise for letting go of emotion. You are assuring yourself that your apology is authentic and you are making a sincere attempt to put the right situation to the best of your ability. Unhealthy guilt, on the other hand, has an intention to make you feel bad, often for the things that are out of your control. But don't worry, you can make positive changes too, but in a slightly different way. Rather than trying to fix something externally, making amends with somebody else, you need to look inwards, replacing shame and negative self-talk with self-compassion. You might feel that you already know the lesson guilt is trying to teach you, but it will return time and time again until you've truly learnt the lesson fully. As frustrating as it can seem, the sooner you act on it and refraining from engaging in the same damaging behaviour in the future, the sooner the guilt will begin to disappear. Okay, so the next chapter is called Replace Shame with Self-Compassion. And this is more directed towards the irrational guilt. Stuff that might have been out of your hands, where you can't make a direct apology. The person might have passed away. It could have been a situation where they don't speak to you anymore, But the shame that you feel, irrational or not, you've got to try and replace it with self-compassion. So this is what this chapter is about. So anything is achievable when you dedicate enough energy and remain consistent. Never doubt your abilities when you have already achieved a feat of amazing accomplishments that are a testament to your will and dedication. There are things that you might have taken for granted, such as riding a bike, learning to read, driving a car, perhaps. These things take tremendous amounts of commitment and devotion to perfect. You are living proof that what you set your mind to, you can achieve because you've done this time and time again. Anything you do on autopilot is an example. Look at your journey with guilt with the same mentality. You have an enormous amount of potential and all of the right attributes to overcome this. End of the day, you are human. And if you are mindful and practice these steps consistently enough, you can let go of the guilt and the emotion that has been holding you back. Take your energy and use it now to overcome the self-criticisms that guilt provokes. Shame and negative self-talk are two examples of this, and they are incredibly unproductive. They are fuel to depression and anxiety, which act as a catalyst to the pessimism that stems from what you say about yourself. Do not allow yourself to become a victim of shame. You are an incredibly powerful, strong person, like anybody else, and you dictate how you feel about yourself now. Shame is a feeling of inferiority and involves the perception of oneself as a failure, perhaps. Feeling unacceptable to others. The truth is, you are worthy and you are certainly good enough. So don't disregard the fact that you are human and it's acceptable to make mistakes like anybody else. Because this self-blame will only create low self-esteem. You probably heard the saying, if you haven't got anything kind to say, then don't say anything at all. It is just as important to apply this concept to how you treat yourself. For whatever reason you feel guilty, no matter how justified you feel it is, beating yourself up will only worsen the situation. From now on, whenever you criticize or shame yourself, I want you to invert that statement out loud or in your mind, telling yourself that you are worthy of living a life that fulfills your every need. For example, if you think I don't deserve to have this for what I've done, you should try rephrasing it to, I am human and people make mistakes. I have every right to accept this gift, continue to grow, and make positive changes in my life. Be consistent with this, because practice makes perfect. And in order to get something into a habit, it needs to be repeated more than 21 times or over 21 days. Reminding yourself of your worth will boost your confidence, and this will make it easier for you to consider situations more rationally and objectively. This will help you to avoid being swayed by emotional distress. Okay, so this is the last chapter now, and it's more of a meditation, self-hypnosis exercise, and it's called Let Go of Guilt. So it's probably best that you're sitting down, certainly not driving, for example. Get yourself somewhere quiet where you won't be disturbed. And if you can listen to this chapter, go back to it. It's probably better to listen with headphones so you get more of a direct effect. So, let go of guilt. Self-hypnosis exercise. Don't let guilt define you. Accept the fact that you have made mistakes and grant yourself the love and kindness that you deserve by accepting your imperfections. The past is the past, and at some point you will need to move on. Letting go of guilt will seem challenging, but you shouldn't feel bad for wanting to move on. Self-hypnosis can be very, very powerful, and it enables us to reprogram our cognitive thought processes. Here is an exercise that you should try to practice as often as you can, once a day if possible, and use it whilst working through the steps in the previous chapters that I've mentioned tonight. This is a self-hypnosis technique used during meditation. So as I mentioned earlier, find a quiet place where you shan't be disturbed. So close your eyes and begin focusing your attention on your breathing. Try to let go of any thoughts or worries and concentrate on only the present moment right now. Give yourself permission to just be with this moment and yourself, and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. All of your thought is now focused on your breathing. As you breathe in deeply, push your stomach out and count to 3 at the top of each breath. As you breathe out, you can let go of any tension and just relax. If you notice any unwanted thoughts manifesting in your mind, just acknowledge them without judgment and allow them to pass, refocusing your attention on the present moment. Going deeper now. Be in the present moment. Be aware of the fresh air filling your lungs, letting go of all tension on your every out-breath. Imagine a warm, healing light filling every cell in your body as you breathe in, running through your veins to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. I'd like you to focus your attention now on the guilt that has been troubling you. Rewind your mind and go back in time to concentrate on the moment where you believed the guilt originated from. You can visualize it. You can imagine it as a feeling or even a sound. Just choose what comes naturally to you. Take your time and just be with it. If it was a colour, what colour would represent this feeling? If it was a sound, would it be high or would it be low? Choose whatever feels right for you, what comes naturally. Because there is no right or wrong way of doing this. The important thing is that you are able to connect as deeply as possible with it. Continue to relax now. Now I'd like you to raise your right hand towards the center of your chest and face your palm upwards. Move that feeling of guilt towards the center of your palm. Push it down gently. Let it flow through your arm and into your palm. Remember, you can visualize it and imagine it as a feeling or a sound. Now focus on transforming any negative feeling or emotion that you feel into something positive, like a beautiful butterfly or a pretty flower blooming. Go into detail. What color is this? And does it have any distinctive patterns? Close your hand now and repeat after me. I let go of all guilt. Say it again. I let go of all guilt. And one more time. I let go of all guilt. Now open your hand and release the butterfly. Watch it fly away. You are willing to let go of the past and give yourself permission to feel forgiven. The past can never dictate your future. It is the wake, where you have been before. It's not your present moment energy. You are growing as a person, and you love yourself enough to feel compassion for your previous actions. Continue to breathe deeply, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Relax. Now I'd like you to shift your focus into the future. I want you to visualize the best version of yourself. You are happy, healthy, and living abundantly, just how you want to, free from guilt and pain. You have a big smile all over your face, and you feel grateful for all that life has given you. You are allowing yourself to be at peace with your thoughts there is a glowing white light surrounding you, enveloping your body and mind in a blissful feeling of serenity and calm. Now I'd like you to look out through your own point of view, through your own eyes, and visualize a scenario where you're living as your best self. Imagine living your life joyfully, no longer feeling tied to the association of guilt, but as free as a butterfly that you released to go wherever you choose, whenever you choose, doing it your way. How does this make you feel? Focus on the positive feelings that come with this new lifestyle, and let your subconscious mind know which direction you want to take your life so that it can guide you there. Now I'd like you to direct your attention to the center of your chest. Continue to visualize and feel what it's like to be living out your best self, free from guilt and shame, feeling happy and content. Imagine that white light hovering over your chest now, and repeat these affirmations after me. I forgive myself completely. I understand that I did the best I knew how to do at the time. I am always growing as a person. I am willing to let go of the past. So from now on, you will live out your best self, happily, healthily, and free from guilt. You have every right to enjoy your life and live it to its full potential. From now on, you won't allow anything to hold you back, because you are ready to let go and learn from the experience and clear the road ahead for miracles and abundance to take place. So I'd like you to bring your attention back to your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bring your breathing back to normal, back to a normal speed and rhythm. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes, remembering all the things that we've spoken about in this meditation. Be mindful of this. Try to practice it every day. In your waking hours too. Try to remind yourself. Be the observer of any negative self-talk. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard tonight. These will be nicely broken down in chapters so you can get an idea of what I'm speaking about in each one, which might be able to help you better. If you'd like a particular one, you can go back to. And just remember, the meditation is always at the end of our live shows. So I really hope you're enjoying what we're doing here at Inner Preservation. And we hope we can continue to help reframe your mind, help you get over anything such as anxiety, depression, guilt. We're going to be looking at directing more at addiction in the next 6 months or so. So keep watching, and we hope that our tips and techniques are going to be able to help you through the hard times, especially what's going on at the moment. It's hard for everybody. So keep watching, stay focused, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.